It's eclipse season. We just had a solar eclipse and now we're going to have a lunar eclipse on May 15th. That's what I talk about today. Hello everybody, I'm Tina Chaudhary. Welcome to my channel and a very warm namaste. So as I mentioned, it's eclipse season. We just had a solar eclipse on April 30th, and now we're going to have a lunar eclipse on May 15th or 16th, depending upon where you are in the world. Eclipses always come in pairs, you know, they're always 2 weeks apart, 15 days apart, I should say. So now, after the solar eclipse, here comes a lunar eclipse. So this lunar eclipse, it's a total lunar eclipse, and it's going to be visible in quite a lot of parts of the world where people are going to be able to see it. So based on California time, it's going to be 8:11 p.m. on the 15th. And so New York time obviously is going to be 11:11 p.m. right before midnight. It's going to be visible in all of South America, parts of North America, all of Europe, and the Middle East, and a lot of part of Africa. It's not going to be visible in India. So really a very large part of the countries are going to be able to see this. So in India, by that time, it's going to be morning. So obviously it's a lunar eclipse, has to deal with the moon. So people in India will not be able to view this lunar eclipse. It's not going to be visible there. Now this lunar eclipse is happening in the sign of Scorpio. Now in my solar eclipse video, I had said that, you know, Ketu is in Libra, or the south node is in Libra. So the eclipses will happen wherever Rahu and Ketu are placed. But what's happened is this is a very special lunar eclipse. It's not going to happen in Ketu. It's going to occur in the sign or the zodiac of Scorpio. Why is that? Why wouldn't it happen where Ketu is? And the reason for that is that Ketu moved into Libra right in the middle of April. And so it's only just moved into Libra. It's only at 2 degrees in Libra. And the moon, the full moon, where obviously for the lunar eclipse, you have to have the moon play a role, major role. So the moon is at 1 degree in Scorpio. So Ketu and the full moon are 3 degrees apart. So they're very close, but unfortunately, because Ketu just moved into Libra, it's a different zodiac sign. So the eclipse is going to be considered to be the very edge of Scorpio, you know, almost touching Libra, but the eclipse is going to be considered to be in Scorpio, and even though Ketu is in Libra. So this is going to be the very, very last eclipse that we're going to have in the sign of Scorpio. All the future eclipses for the next 18 months will definitely be in Libra. And the nakshatra that this eclipse is going to be in is going to be Vishakha, because that's where Ketu is. So Vishakha is ruled by Jupiter. Now there's a couple of very strange or very significant things about this eclipse that we all need to know about. One, Vishakha is ruled by Jupiter. And the other thing is that based on the placement of Saturn and Jupiter right now, Saturn, based on the 10th aspect, is looking at the sign of Scorpio. And Jupiter, based on the 9th aspect of it, is also been looking at the sign zodiac of Scorpio. So both Jupiter and Saturn are aspecting this eclipse very greatly. So it's a very significant eclipse. All eclipses are significant, but this one is going to have a lot more significance because 2 major planets are also aspecting this eclipse. So there's one more thing we have to take into consideration, because that's just not enough, right? Just Jupiter and Saturn aspecting it, that's not enough. We're going to have one more aspect, and that's the fact that Mercury is transiting in Taurus, and on May 11th, it's going to turn retrograde. Now, Taurus aspects, well, Mercury in Taurus is going to aspect the zodiac sign of Scorpio, so that's going to be another aspect on the lunar eclipse. So a retrograde Mercury is going to aspect the eclipse as well. So we're going to have to take that into account as well. So let's take a look at the significations of this eclipse, you know, one by one. So the main thing is it's happening in the zodiac of Scorpio. Now, Scorpio is the 8th zodiac sign of the generic birth chart. So that signifies death and rebirth, or transformation is what you really want to call it, because it doesn't mean death of people or human beings. It just means death of a certain item and rebirth. So it means transformation in some way. It also means hidden things, things that are hidden, things that you didn't know about, things that you didn't know about yourself, or general things that you didn't know, revelations of some sort. So it reflects revelations and things coming to the surface that you didn't know about. Well, the moon is the most important planet we're going to have to take into consideration because it's a lunar eclipse. So the moon, it represents our mind, our emotions, our feelings. And so then during a lunar eclipse, the moon has a shadow on it, which means that our mind and our emotions is going to get shadowed. What does that mean? It means that it's going to prevent us from thinking clearly, because there's a shadow, so there's no clarity. Our mind doesn't have clarity. There's going to be a lot of confusion. There's also going to be stress. There could be anxiety. And so definitely it plays on your mind a lot, especially the day of the eclipse and 2 or 3 days before the eclipse and 2 or 3 days after the eclipse. As the shadow starts coming closer, as the day of the lunar eclipse starts to come closer, it starts playing on your mind. Our mind starts to get unsettled and disturbed. Now, everybody's going to have a little different impact depending upon where the moon is placed in their chart and the planets aspecting it. But basically, it's the mind and our emotions that start to feel it or sense it immediately. It causes definitely mental, emotional issues, so to speak. If your moon is in a very precarious or different planetary positions in your chart, you can also get extreme anxiety, extreme depression around the eclipse. But if it's not in a sensitive situation in your chart, you may not feel it as intensely as some people do. Now, who are the people that feel it a lot more intensely? I think the Cancer natives, or the Cancer, if your moon is in Cancer, or if you're Cancer ascendant, you're going to feel it a lot more intensely. Also, if you have any planets, or especially if your moon is in the nakshatra of Vishaka, you might feel it a little more intensely. If your moon is in Scorpio, you might feel it a little more intensely as well. One of the other things you have to consider is if you have any planets anywhere in your chart that is at 1 degree, because the eclipse is happening at 1 degree. So if you have any planets in your chart that are at 1 degree, they're going to get impacted as well. So you might see the result of that, and you might feel the intensity of that planet as well during the lunar eclipse. So the other factor we take into consideration is the fact that it's happening in the sign of Scorpio, and Mars rules Scorpio, and currently Mars is in Aquarius and it's with Saturn. So it's completely not in a good position. It's very uncomfortable being with Saturn because they're sworn enemies. So Mars, the ruler of the zodiac that the eclipse is happening in, is very uncomfortable situation. So doesn't really speak well for the eclipse either. Now let's take into consider the nakshatra of Vishaka, which is the most important part of the lunar eclipse. Now, Vishaka is ruled by 2 gods, or 2 deities, I should say. One is Indra and one is Agni. And both of these gods, one of the main representations of these is ego. Indra was a god that very high ego, and Agni is fire. And so fire wants to have its way. It's going to burn its way through things. So they both are very egoistic. So this Vishaka nakshatra has a certain amount of ego associated with it. Even though it's ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is considered a benefic planet, wherever Vishaka sits, it gives you a little bit of ego related to that house in your zodiac. Vishaka means a branch. Shaka means a branch, and Vishaka means multi-branches or 2 branches, where one branch turns into 2, like a branch of a tree or a plant. So what this symbolizes is the 2 different paths, or the 2 different choices that we might have to make in our life at this time. Choosing between 2 different paths. Which one should you, which option, 2 different options, which option would you want to follow at this time? So this is, this eclipse signifies in the future, in the coming future, which path or which option will you follow. It might signify where in the future you're going to have to make this decision about which choice you are going to make. You might be given a choice in the future, or you might already be thinking about which choice to make or which path to follow. You might be at the crossroads right now regarding some important decisions in your life. And so this lunar eclipse signifies the choice that you make about which path to follow. Now, because it's ruled by Jupiter, the signification of that is that you need to use the Jupiterian influence, which means very good wisdom. Jupiter represents wisdom. So it represents to use your wisdom to make the correct choice. Now, the lunar eclipse is going to cloud your thinking. It's going to cloud your intellect. The retrograde Mercury is going to cloud your intellect. It's going to make you think, be confused, and not give you good guidance as to what choice to make. So the guidance of this lunar eclipse is to use the wisdom of Jupiter in order to help you make the right decision in case you do have this choice that you're going to have to make in the coming months or even now. Now, what is the guidance or what is the wisdom of Jupiter? Jupiter represents guru or a mentor or a coach. If you are confused at this time, or if you are at the crossroads where you need to make this decision, it might be a good idea to go to a guru, a coach, or somebody that you think of as that person, a teacher, somebody that you hold in high esteem, somebody that's been a life coach for you, and you trust with making the right decisions. Might not be a bad idea to go to that person and help you in making the good decisions. Or you might just have to think things through clearly before you actually make final decisions in picking the right choice going forward. Now, I do want to point out the fact that the eclipse itself does not give events. Eclipses by themselves don't give the events. They lay the seed for the event that is to come in the future. So the fact that there's a solar eclipse, the fact that there's a lunar eclipse now, these are laying down the seeds for events that may come in the next few months. The next eclipses are going to be in October. So between now and October, you may start to see these events where you may need to make some choices. And so this is why I'm saying that this might come up in the next few months for a lot of people, where choices will have to be made. And you need to think through these choices. In my solar eclipse, I said, lay low, don't make any decisions, don't do anything yet. Because now there's a lunar eclipse and it's going to cloud your thinking. It's going to cloud your emotions, your mind, and you may make decisions based on emotion rather than your intellect and your intelligence. So that's why it's a better idea to just kind of let the eclipses pass, let the eclipses sow the seed for the future events. And as the events unfold over the next few months, you make your right decisions at that time. And if you need help to think through these decisions, go to a guru, coach, or mentor and let them help you make these decisions. Now, what's the best guidance I can give you to actually the day off eclipse? This applies to people where the eclipse is going to be visible. So the best thing I can tell you is to don't eat just very heavy food, because the lunar eclipse does tend to mess up people's digestion a lot. Also because it kind of messes up your emotions. Don't try to get into just heavy discussions and conflicts with people. Just kind of, stay to yourself. Try to do some mantra recitation. Try to stay close to the divine. Do your prayer, do your any mantras that you want to do. Now, for the Hindu religion or people that practice the Hindu faith, I would strongly recommend, if you want to do any mantra practice, is to do the mantras related to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the only Lord that can control the planet Moon. So try to do those. Also, drink lots and lots of water. The moon represents water, so the more hydrated your body is, the less you feel, the less anxiety and the less mental turmoil you're going to feel if you're very hydrated. So try to do that as well. If you don't follow the Hindu religion and you follow another religion, then by all means chant whatever it is that your religion asks you to chant, whatever religious mantras or other things that you follow, and I'm sure they will be equally effective. Also, make sure that Mercury is retrograde during this time, so make sure to keep all communication very, very polite. Make sure you don't let Mercury retrograde bother you and ruin relationships with family at this time. And because it's in Taurus, make sure that you eat very healthy at this time, because it does have the tendency to kind of ruin your digestion at this time because it's in the sign of Taurus. And also communication, like I said, watch it. I'm going to move on and give you some predictions, or basically guidance, for based on your moon sign and ascendant sign. So this time you can listen to both where your moon is placed as well as your ascendant sign, because it's a lunar eclipse. You'd probably be better off listening to your moon sign as well. But go on, listen to both. Or and if you don't know your moon sign, you could just listen to your ascendant sign, and actually it might work as well. So again, if you like my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. And also, this is a very important video for everybody, so do share it with friends and family. If you like the video, give me a like, and I do like comments. I like to give blessings and good luck on my comments, even though sometimes I'm delayed because I'm very, very busy right now. Make sure you give me a comment, and if you want, you can ask me a question as well in my comments. Aries, this lunar eclipse is going to throw the light on you regarding transformation or changes that you make to yourself. Also, there could be some, like I said, revelations, something that's come to the surface of things that maybe you didn't know about yourself, or also things that you didn't know about some friends or family. So the focus is on communication for you. Make sure you keep your communication very polite. It's very important for you to make sure your communication is good. That's your Mercury retrograde in the second house. And also make sure you eat very healthy. You could get sick, so make sure you eat very healthy. Communication should be very polite, but most of the impact is going to be in your 8th house. Sudden events, sudden changes that come up. Also make sure that if there's any changes that do come up, any sudden events that do come up, you handle them with care. You handle them with a lot of good intellect, and you think through things before you react. Don't act harsh or impulsively, I should say, because your ruler is Mars, and Mars is in a very, very challenged position. So don't be impulsive, hasty. Something comes up, take the time to think about it and then react. Again, this energy focuses on you and your transformation and the changes that you make in your life. There may be sudden changes that come up in the next few months for you, and handle them with care. They could be good changes or challenging changes, but make sure you handle them with a lot of care. Taurus, the eclipse is impacting your 7th house, and the 7th house denotes partnerships of all kind, marital partnerships, also business partnerships. These are going to cause you a little bit of mental anxiety, worry. So also, since Mercury is retrograde right now, I tell you to be very cautious about how you communicate with your marriage partner, also your business partners, or all people that are in business together with you. It could also be people that are, work with you. So be cautious about that. The other thing is that you're going to think about how to handle your business. It's going to cause you some worry, some stress maybe about how your business is doing, how your work is doing, the money it's making. So you might be thinking about how to handle it going forward. Do you want to branch out? Do you want to do other things? And these are the things that's going to worry you or give you a little bit of stress right now. Also, you may be thinking about your marriage in the same way, about how you want to handle your partner going forward. This is a time for transformation, like I said. So there may be some transformation in your business, in your partnerships. And this is actually partnerships of all kind. It doesn't just mean your marriage partnership, because there could be lots of Taurus people that are not married at this time. So what does that mean? The 7th house also denotes how you are perceived by the public, your public image. So you could also, have to make sure that your communication is very good as far as how the people that around you perceive you. So this is a transformation there. So meaning that how you communicate could change how people perceive you. So it's time to be very cautious about your behavior in the public domain. How everybody perceives you. What is your social standing? So you might be worried about that. Actually, also you might be thinking about how do people look at me? How do people perceive me? So this is one of the things you can think of. If you don't have a business or you're not married, then what, right? So then it's about people's perception of you. That's the 7th house as well, is the people's perception of you. So you might be transforming in that respect, or you might be thinking or worrying about in that respect is people's perception of you. One of the things is the 7th house also denotes the other people that are dealing with you, the opposite person. So you have to be very cautious at this time of who you're dealing with, and how they're dealing with you. Meaning, you don't want to get there may be something hidden about those people that are coming to deal with you, people that come to do business with you or come to just kind of deal with you in any way or format. So just kind of make sure that you're very cautious about the people that come and deal with you in various matters. It could be business matters, it could be people that, any public dealing. And by public dealing, I actually mean all kinds of dealing, so you have to be very cautious that they're being honest with you, they're being forthright with you. So make sure you pay attention to that, and be very cautious about your communication with others, because like I said, I'm just saying it to all my ascendants, but with you it's going to be very critical to be very good communication with your marriage partner, because that's one of the most important relationships of our life. Gemini, this eclipse is happening in your 6th house, and the ascendant lord of Gemini, Mercury, is also retrograde. So you need to watch what you say to people very, very carefully. You might hurt their feelings, especially your marriage partner, business partners, and actually everybody in the family. You need to be very careful how you communicate with them. Also, this is not a good time for you. You may be very stressed. You may feel the eclipse a little more, the effects of the eclipse, I should say, a little more than some of the other ascendants or moon signs. You may be very stressed, and you also may feel it in your body where you're more mentally than anything. You may be very stressed. You may feel like you're not feeling well. You may feel very down on energy as well. You need to manage through this energy, and because it's the 6th house, the best thing that I can suggest for you is to drink lots and lots of water and relax. And also, please don't get into it with anybody. Don't get into conflict situations with anybody. Or actually, you should just try to not minimize your communication right now. You should try to minimize your communication right now, because invariably you are going to hurt somebody and ruin relationships at this time. The Gemini ascendants, moon signs, are very susceptible right now because of the retrograde Mercury impact, and also the fact that the eclipse is in the 6th house is causing breakups with a lot of family members, all kinds of people in their life, literally. If you're at work, this is also going to cause issues with co-workers. So make sure that either you keep away from people and just keep to yourself, and take good care of your health, focus on yourself and your own well-being. Otherwise, you're going to feel a little sick and going to feel very stressed out at this time. So again, my guidance is do mantra practice, do some yoga, stay to yourself, keep quiet, don't even say anything, otherwise invariably something is going to happen. So good luck to my Gemini people. I'm sorry I have to say this to you, but good luck. Lay low, stay close to the divine, and try not to say anything to anybody, please. Cancer, the eclipse impacts your 5th house. So the 5th house denotes lots of good things, all the fun things in life, and now you're going to be caused stress related to those things. What are those things? They're your children, their education, it's your love life, and it's all things fun, and even your creativity, your hobbies, and name and fame as well. So right now you might be stressed out, worried, have anxiety over your children. Also, if your children are at the point where they're getting education, you might be very worried about their education. And if you're a person that's getting education, themselves, you might lose focus at this time, and then it's going to cause you stress, or you might just not be focused on your education as well as you should be. So make sure you kind of keep your focus there. If you're not in any of these situations, then it could be your love life where you're stressed out about. You may be faced with either picking options about what to do going forward, or you might actually be have a revelation, or you find out something about the person that you're either interested in or have been interested in or having a relationship with. It might come to the surface later, or you might just be faced with making a decision about that. So make sure you think through things clearly before you do that. One of the other things, if you have none of this going on, let's just say, so you might actually just be very down, you might actually not be having fun, and you're worried about what's going on in my life, nothing's happening, and then that's something that is going to cause you worry. So the 5th house, denotes having fun, being relaxed, and just generally enjoying life, and happiness quotient. and that's going to be very challenged at this point, where you're just not having fun, you're depressed. So make sure you get out of the depression. Like I said, keep yourself hydrated, eat well, relax, do meditation, and that should get you out of this funk that you're probably in over the next few months as soon as the eclipse passes. Leo, this eclipse is happening in your 4th house, and the 4th house denotes your 4 walls of the house, people living within the 4 walls of your house, and mainly your mental happiness or domestic bliss and your own mental happiness. So at this time, the lunar eclipse is going to make you worried about what's happening, what's going to happen in the 4 walls of your house. How are you going to be, how are you going to stay happy, mentally happy? There may be changes that occur within your house. There may be changes in your daily routine coming up, and they may be causing you some worry. There also may be certain revelations or certain things that come up, information that you didn't know before that you now know regarding some family members, that may also cause you some worry. Things that you didn't know before, and now all of a sudden people are showing you who they really are, or things that they didn't tell you before, now you're finding out. These are people that are very close family members that may or may not be living with you, and now you're worried, and now it's causing you worry. It's also causing you some stress. So this is what's going to happen in the next few months. It's also going to cause you some stress within the house, and so make sure you keep your communication positive. Don't make any decisions, don't make any changes until another few months, when you've had some time to think about it, when you've had some time to maybe get some good guidance about it, talk to your close family, and think through things. Don't make any rash or impulsive decisions. Don't say anything to anybody rash or impulsively and hurt their feelings either. So just kind of let things go by. Let time take its let time pass, and then you can think about what you want to do. But right now you're probably a little stressed about family members and how they're treating you, or how you're being handled by them, and then you're trying to think about how you want to handle them in turn, and how your household's going to happen, how your household is going to change over the next few months. And then you might want to make some decisions regarding your own house, your own housing situation. Also, some of the people might be making decisions about whether you want to move or change homes, or relocate as well. So there's some Leo people that are thinking about relocating or changing something within the house as well. They might just wait a little bit and make their decisions later. Virgo, the eclipse impacts your 3rd house. The 3rd house denotes a lot of things, like your self-effort, your dedication, your discipline, your hard work, and it also denotes short travels. It also denotes siblings, and it also denotes paperwork. So these are the things that you have to take great care of right now. You're going to not want to do any hard work. It's going to make you feel a little lazy. You're not going to want to put any effort into anything right now. You just want to just not worry about work. You just want to stay away, do nothing. Also, if you're short, if you have any travels, you have to make sure everything is in order. You've taken everything with you, and you don't forget anything, because it's going to cloud your, making sure everything's there. So you're going to be very stressed, and then might forget things. So make sure everything you need to take with you and all your paperwork is in good order. If you're working and you work a lot with paperwork and you work a lot with communication, the 3rd house also denotes communication. Make sure all your paperwork is in order. There's accuracy there. You don't make any mistakes. Also, communication, what you're saying to people, and what you're writing, emails, all kinds of communication is perfect. Double check it, triple check it, because don't forget your ascendant lord is Mercury, and it's retrograde. So you really have to check all communication very carefully. You also have to check to make sure that things that you send to people at work are accurate. There's no mistakes in there, because the chance of that happening to my Virgo ascendants is very high. So make sure you do that. Also, don't go on social media and tell people off and do negative stuff, because it's really going to impact you, come and bite you back later. So make sure you stay away from all that. Make sure you communicate very pleasantly, professionally at work. Things might come back in a very negative way and impact you very badly. So make sure you keep your communication very positive. Try to keep your energy up. Make sure you're doing workout. Keep hydrated. I'm telling everybody that. to stay hydrated, and make sure you try to do as much as you can to keep your energy and your self-effort and dedication up. I know it's going to be a challenge, but try to do your best about that. Good luck. Libra, the eclipse impacts your second house, and the second house denotes lots of things like your finances, your savings, your family, and the food that you eat, and of course communication, because it signifies your mouth. So this is the thing that's going to be these are the things, I should say, that are going to cause you some stress and worry. Your finances are going to be worrisome, where you might have to be, you're probably in the middle of making choices about how you handle your finances, your investments, and your savings. So make sure you think through things very carefully before you change anything to do with your investments and your savings pattern, or how you deal with your money, and how you just kind of how you handle your savings and investments. It's going to cause you some worry, and then your changes that you make later with it. Also, your family matters. They're going to cause you anxiety. There's just no doubt about that they might cause you anxiety. Relationships with all kinds of family members are going to cause you some stress, some distress, maybe some depression issues as well. Watch very carefully what you eat, because like I said before, that the lunar eclipse tends to mess up your digestion as well. So my Libra ascendants or Libra moon signs also have to be very careful about what you eat, so they don't mess up your digestion. Stay, especially around the lunar eclipse days, stay very, very, eat very well. Don't eat heavy food so it doesn't mess up your stomach. And of course, like I've been telling everybody, you need to watch your communication very carefully, and what you say to people, especially within the family. Make sure you're cordial, you're pleasant, and you have to say what you have to say, but make sure you say it in very diplomatically and in the right way, so you get the results that you need to. Again, I'm cautioning my Libra ascendants and Libra moon signs to be very careful about what they eat, and make sure you drink lots of water. That's even more important for you. Just stay hydrated so you kind of keep your digestion going well. Scorpio, the eclipse is impacting your first house, meaning your ascendant house. So this is even more impactful for you. Like I said, this is the eclipse that's going to bring some revelations within yourself. You're going to find out things about yourself that you needed to know. It's the time for introspection or self-introspection, to find out what's going on within you, what are the changes that you need to make. And then the eclipse calls for a transformation. You need to transform something about yourself. You will transform something about yourself over the next few months. It could be anything. It could be about your career. You might get a new job. You might have a new relationship. You might change where you live. A lot of things might transform, or some things at least will transform, because you're going to realize what it takes for you to be happy, and you need to stop pleasing everybody. One of the other things is that South Node is in your 12th house, so you're going to realize that you're spending a lot of money, and you're not saving anything. So the revelation might be related to money, because the South Node Ketu is in your 12th house, and all of a sudden you're going to realize that you're just spending everything and that you're not saving for the future. So that might be one of the main revelations that the Scorpio moon and the Scorpio ascendants realize. And so this is going to be a key revelation where you transform and you change your spending habits, or you change the way you've been living. A lot of Scorpio ascendants or moon signs have been just living it up. If they've been making a lot of money, they've been living it up, and then all of a sudden now the spending is going to hit an all-time high, and now they're going to realize that they haven't been saving, and what about the future? So the revelation also actually might be very much about, what about the future? What is my future? And then that's where the transformation is going to come in. So you need to pay attention to your inner self introspect. This is both the eclipses really called for a self-introspection for all the Scorpio natives, whether you're ascendant or whether it's a Scorpio moon sign, and figure out what you really need to do going forward. What are the changes that you need to make sure that you put into place in your life moving forward, so you get the best results for a long-term effect. This short term it's a short term, it's day to day, but what is going to ultimately benefit you in the long run. So this is going to cause you some stress, some worry, and like I said, self-introspection. Make sure you take time to think through it and come up with the best results, and make your transformation happen in the next few months. Sagittarius, this eclipse is impacting your 12th house. The 12th house denotes expenses. It also denotes spirituality. It also denotes some hidden enemies. So the revelations might be about who is your real friend, who is not your real friend, and also denotes some anxiety or worry related to the high expenses that you have. So and one of the things that you're going to feel through this eclipse in the next few months is the fact that the 12th house, denotes solitary, wanting to be private, or just being a solitary, away from everybody. And this eclipse might sow the seed for where in the future you might just say, I just want to be alone. I don't want to spend a lot of money. I don't want to, I want to be away from people, because you're going to realize who are your true friends, who are not really not your true friends, and that the fact that you've just been spending money, or you want to save money actually. And so you might transform yourself into a different person and different habits, because this is going to cause you worry right now. The spending is going to cause you worry. The people around you are going to cause worry. And so this is going to cause you to want to just go off by yourself and become a little more spiritual, I should say, where you're going to think, I don't want to be that materialistic. I don't want to live this materialistic life. I'd rather be a little more spiritual and live a simpler life. So this is what the eclipse might have you go through. These are the feelings that the eclipse might make you go through over the next few months. But at this time, it's going to cause you a little worry about your finances mainly. So, use this energy wisely. It also denotes some health, health meaning mental stress. The 12th house mainly denotes mental stress also. So make sure you manage your stress, your anxiety. It might cause you sleep issues too. The 12th house also denotes sleep. So it might cause you some sleep issues. Make sure you keep yourself hydrated, mentally relaxed, do some deep meditation as a remedy, and try to manage through this stress, and introspect within yourself to what really makes you happy. And actually following the spiritual path might be a very great remedy. Capricorn, the eclipse impacts your 11th house. The 11th house is a favorite of a lot of us, mine especially, because it denotes gains from everything. It denotes your network, it denotes your friends, and it also denotes your older siblings. And it generally denotes the nicer things of life, of your hard work and the rewards that you get from your hard work, which is why it's such a favorite of mine, because putting the hard work and then getting gains from it is such a rewarding thing. But right now, my Capricorn ascendants or moon signs are going to be a little worried about the fact that I'm doing all this hard work and I didn't get any gains. You might also have revelations, or you might have something come to the surface about people that you know in your network circle, or something just that something hidden comes up in your network circle. You might find out information about somebody in your network group, or in your circle of friends. You might find out something that was hidden from you right now also. But your main worry is going to be about your returns on, monetary returns, or investment returns, and worry about that. You might be toying with, how do I handle that going forward? How do I get the best returns? How do I handle my friends? How do I handle my network group, or at work, or my friends, my social circle? So these are my things that might be going through your head at this time. That's what you're going to be preoccupied with, and they may cause you some worry. And the options might be, where you might be, having to think about or make choices between how you make your investments also, because the 11th house also denotes return on investments. So you might be thinking about making changes to your, how you handle your investments, or how you make your investments. So at this time, I would say just lay low. Don't make any changes, at least around the lunar eclipse. And then after a few days have passed and you have better clarity of mind, you can certainly make whatever changes that you think you would need to make. But make sure you use good wisdom. Again, the 11th, your Mercury is retrograde, so you need to watch how you communicate with your network circle, whether they are friends or people at work, and within the whole, everybody that literally, especially your older siblings. So you have to make sure communication is very good with those people, so you don't jeopardize the relationships that are so precious in our lives. So make sure you watch your communication with your network, friends, family, everybody actually, and then don't make any rash decisions or quick impulsive decisions regarding investment changes at this time, at least a few days until after the lunar eclipse has passed. Aquarius, the eclipse impacts your 10th house, and the 10th house denotes a career, your job, and your status at work. And so a lot of the Aquarius individuals are probably a little worried or tense, or have been thinking about whether they really like the career they're at. Do they need to change it? What do they need to change? Is it satisfactory? And things like that. So that's been on their minds, and now this lunar eclipse is really going to make them think, is that the best career they have? What are the changes they need to make? Do they need to transform? So that's the worry that the Aquarius individuals are going to have right now. They need to watch their communication very well, very at work especially, and people that they hang out with at work. They need to completely watch it, because the problem with Aquarius individuals is that Mercury is also Lord of their 8th house. So when they communicate, they don't communicate well. An Aquarius individual, it breaks the relationship completely. So Mercury is not a really good planet for the Aquarius individual. So at all times, they need to watch their communication with everybody practically. So at this time being retrograde, the chances of breakups or, permanently just damaging relationships is very great for them if they don't watch how they communicate with anybody. Because this is when Mercury goes retrograde, a lot of Aquarians tend to damage relationships at this time, because they just tell people, like it is. That's just an Aquarian trait, and Mercury being damaging for the Aquarius individuals, they need to be very cautious at this time. As far as career options is concerned, they need to think through things, make sure that what they're doing, they either like it, or if they need to transform or make subtle changes, they can do them later after they've had time to think through things carefully. Otherwise, make sure your communication is good, and don't make drastic changes in your career. Pisces, the eclipse impacts your 9th house, and the 9th house denotes luck. It also denotes dharma, and it also denotes your religion. It also denotes your father. So this is a time when the Pisces individuals feels that luck has not been on their side. They're working so hard for their career, and they're probably a little dissatisfied with the returns they are getting on their hard work. They're not, I think the Pisces individuals are going to be very stressed out from the hard work that they're going to have to put in right now, and feel that luck hasn't been on their side, and they're just not, they're not getting anything for the hard work they're putting. They're rather disappointed with it. Also, they need to watch their communication with their father and, both parents at this time, to make sure their luck factor ignites. Also, the best remedy that I can give my Pisces individuals is to make sure they stay close to the Dharma. It's a very, very good time to do some mantra practice, mantra chanting, and also to, thank the divine daily for whatever it is that they have. And I don't care what they don't have. They can't focus on what they don't have or what they're not getting. They really have to do a sense of gratitude to what they are getting, which actually starts that luck factor in the 9th house. The 9th house is our house of luck, and the only way to activate your house of luck, or the luck in your chart, is to activate the 9th house in a positive way, which is staying close to your dharma. Every morning, do the gratitude to the sun, and that actually changes things around for the Pisces individuals at this time. So that's the remedy I'm giving the Pisces people, because I know that luck's not going to be on their side. They're going to be working very hard and getting nothing in return, and this working hard is probably going to be for their career, for their jobs, and they feel like, nobody's supporting me right now. So they're going to feel the lack of support, and that's the key thing right now, because Saturn is looking at it, and they're going to feel like they have to work so hard without any support. So they feel very unsupported. They feel very unloved. They feel like they've been abandoned, and now they're putting in all this hard work. So they have to make sure that in order to get the results later in, as that eclipse passes, is they need to do the gratitude to the sun. They need to have gratitude towards their parents, especially their father, because the 9th house denotes the father. You have to show some gratitude instead of always getting mad at people. They can show some gratitude to the divine for everything that they do have, instead of focusing on things that they don't have, because that definitely extinguishes the luck of the 9th house. So that's a remedy. Make sure that you stay close to the divine. Of course, for all ascendants, you have to be very careful with your communication. Don't tell off people. Definitely don't tell off people that you work with and your parents. That's definitely not going to work out well for you. So make sure you thank the divine every day for what you do have, and do not tell off people that you work with at all in your job or where you work. This is going to work very against you. So watch your communication, thank the divine for everything you have. That's it for now. I hope everybody stays happy, healthy, and may Everybody stay very, very blessed. Goodbye for now.